Continental Tire, Coach's Corner. Rick Neuheisel set to join us as we recap college football weekend. Your phone calls coming up, best and worst of the weekend. Yeah, the end of the Tennessee-Georgia game, Clemson, Louisville, and Michigan over Wisconsin. We bring in Rick Neuheisel, CBS Sports College football analyst. Good morning, Rick. How are you?
DP, I'm doing well, man. Long time no talk. Everything good with you?
Spectacular. Absolutely spectacular. Where do you want to start today?
Well, I think that showdown in Death Valley, the Clemson version of Death Valley anyway, was one for the ages. Those are two sensational quarterbacks. Both teams go for over 500 yards of offense. That second quarter, there were like 5 or 6 drives that neither one had the ball for more than a minute. It went right back and forth. It would not shock me that Louisville could earn their way all the way back and still make the Final Four.
Can you look, and you were a quarterback's coach in the NFL, can you look at those two guys and project at all of what they would be like in the NFL? Starting with Deshaun Watson, have you seen enough where you go, okay, I understand what kind of quarterback he'll be in the NFL?
You know, Deshaun is such a talent, and he's more talented when the game's on the line. I think when he forgets about trying to make plays and just does what the situation calls for, as we witnessed in the national championship game, I think he really comes to life. In 1985, Homer Smith was the offensive coordinator at UCLA, was my coach. He told me this was the year Bo Jackson won the Heisman Trophy. He said, someday Bo Jackson will play quarterback. And that's what we're seeing. When Cam Newton, won the Heisman Trophy at Auburn, and now Deshaun Watson and Lamar Jackson, these guys are, putting their teams on their shoulders and can do it with both their arm and legs. That's what we're seeing, these great athletes taking over at the quarterback position. And then ultimately, when you project them at the NFL level, now staying in the pocket, are they going to be accurate enough to do that? And I think still a ways away from doing that, but certainly gifted enough to say great things can ensue. What you hope is that an NFL team in selecting these guys will also, incorporate some of the things that make them special within the offense.
But you have these quarterbacks at a young age who are successful. Watching Dak Prescott, Trevor Siemian, even Paxton Lynch came in, Jimmy Garoppolo. What is it about now? And I also say it helps having a good team around a young quarterback to help him. But what is it about these quarterbacks? I mean, why is Dak Prescott looking like he's Troy Aikman?
Well, he has a lot of what Russell Wilson has. He has that ability to make people miss in the pocket, not necessarily to create running for him, not quarterback design runs, but basically that elusive extend the play ability and keep his eyes downfield. Dan Mullen at Mississippi State transitioned their offense from an offense that was Dak Prescott running the football. He was almost a 1,000-yard rusher his junior year, into an offense that was really all about him throwing the ball and understanding pass concepts and getting through reads of all the different patterns structures. And so he was ready to play the next level. And because their ability to extend plays and create offense, it's disruptive to a defense, and all of a sudden that offense starts to get rhythm. Russell Wilson had the same impact on the Seattle Seahawks offense, and now you're seeing it with these other guys.
He's Rick Neuheisel, former college coach, now working for CBS Sports, joining us, Dan Patrick Show. Explain to me the ending of the Tennessee-Georgia game. If somebody didn't see it, how would you sum it up? And can I give credit to good coaching, or do I give more blame to bad coaching?
Well, I think there's a lot to be taught off the end of that game. Film, okay? First of all, Jim Chaney, the coordinator for Georgia, knows better than to drop a freshman quarterback back into your end zone and take a sack fumble there to give Tennessee the lead. But the reason you travel, even if you're in Athens, Georgia, to the state of Washington, which I think might be, in terms of distance, as far as you can go in the continental United States, is for a strong-arm guy like Jacob Eason. They were in cover 2. Now, if you'll recall the Baltimore Ravens Super Bowl run, Joe Flacco had 3rd and forever against the Denver Broncos. My old UCLA safety, Raheem Moore, was in cover 2. Yes. And all of a sudden, cover 2 doesn't have enough for when you're sending guys down the field. and the tight end had been the most favorite target, so the safety bid on the tight end, and all of a sudden that guy just ran all the way down the field and touchdown Georgia. 10 seconds left. We're all scratching our heads. How did this happen? The hobnail boot. Larry Munson, somewhere up in the heavens, talking about they kicked him with a hobnail boot. And then 20 yards of penalties.
Yeah.
A guy taking his helmet off, which is ridiculous because it was celebration type thing. But 15 yards there, 5 yards for being offsides, and a kick that I don't understand. Tennessee was lined up as if it was going to be an onside kick.
I know.
I'm like, what are you doing? And they get the heck of a return, 4 seconds left on the clock, in a place where they can throw a Hail Mary. And Georgia puts their tallest guy, Jenkins, back there, number 7, but he's 7 yards deep, Dan. Somebody needs to tell him that the touchdown counts when he gets over that goal line. He doesn't need to be 7 yards deep. And they don't even make a play. And this Jawan Jennings, the next big thing at Tennessee, who had the touchdown against Florida the week before, goes up and snatches it before anybody can touch it for Georgia. So there's lots to teach off Hail Mary defense, but you talk about just pure passion. That game was wild and everything you could imagine.
How many teams do you think will go undefeated this year?
At day's end, I would say no more than 2.
Is Houston one of those teams?
I would say they have a great chance to be. Their lone challenge. Actually, I think they've got 2 challenges. Certainly the Louisville game when Louisville comes to Houston that Thursday in November. And then the Memphis game following it, because there'll be some measure of a hangover after that. And I think Memphis is a decent offense. They hung 77 on Bowling Green. So that game will be a little challenge. I think they'll be ready for that American Conference Championship game. And but I think there are 2 hurdles there. And then I think either Ohio State or Alabama, one of those 2 will make it.
And Tom Herman's now the object of desire here, and you got a lot of these programs, and you know this. What happens with that athletic director of the boosters when your school is struggling, and you know that you've got that knight in shining armor who's out there who can all of a sudden change your fortunes, and Tom Herman can only have one job. So how does this work if you're LSU or USC or Texas?
Yeah.
I mean,
Texas, you hit the nail on the head right there, and we talked about this last week. When LSU made their job open, everybody circled the wagons around Tom Herman. It's going to be a distraction for him the rest of the year. But I said before, in anticipation of the Oklahoma State-Texas game, patience, which has never been the long suit of those in the burnt orange, just got really, really small. And to have another big number hung on that defense, which is supposed to be Charlie's, baby, on the defensive side of the ball, I'm promising you it is torched, that seat that he's sitting on, because Tom Herman coached at Texas. Those guys who are dying to be relevant with those private planes that say hook 'em, that keep flying into Austin, Texas, are going, are we going to let LSU take this guy from us?
I know.
Or are we going to make a play? I think USC will settle down. I think Sam Darnold, their quarterback, is going to prove to be a really good player. They just waxed Arizona State over the weekend. But that Texas and LSU fight over Tom Herman is real.
Great to talk to you. And the Danettes got to meet your son at Rams camp.
It was the highlight of his little internship with the Rams. It wasn't Jared Goff. It wasn't Todd Gurley. It was the Danettes. That's who he said were the coolest of all the cool and what made the entire summer worth it.
Yes, Paulie.
Dan, the young Neuheisel was basically running the camp. He was all over the Hard Knocks cameras. He was omnipresent.
Finding a way for some camera time, mugging the camera. That's
Go
what we
figure.
do with young Neuheisel.
Yeah, you taught him well. Thank you, Rick.
Boys, always good to be with you. Have a great week.
That's Rick Neuheisel. Remember when Rick would play songs, we got the guitar, and then all of a sudden CBS hires him, and then they go, could you do some of those songs you do on the Dan Patrick Show? So then I said, all right, we can't have Rick do any of the songs with the guitar, and he was awesome with that. Hope you're happy, CBS. Friendly surface, and every season there's a Continental Tire that delivers superior performance, unparalleled safety. Get your vehicle an upgrade with Continental's maximum performance tires. For more information, ContinentalTire.com. From speedway to driveway, Continental puts you in the driver's seat. Continental Tire Coach's Corner.
The Dan Patrick Show, weekday mornings on Audience.